Hello everyone, welcome to Helm of Science. I am Supriya Paul and I will be teaching chemistry. So before I start, I hope that all of you are doing well in this COVID situation which has posed a heinous threat to our healthy society. So I really hope that we shall get over this situation very soon. So today the topic that I will be discussing about is Introduction to Graphs. Now, if anybody asks you, what do you mean by graph? So what will be your answer? Graph basically is a diagrammatic representation of the different variables which are plotted among two or more axes which are mutually perpendicular to each other. Okay, let us take two axes. One is the x-axis, another is the y-axis. Now, if I draw a line that is passing through both the axes having the coordinates, see here the coordinates of x and y is 0, 0. So, we will call this point as origin. Right? This point is called the origin, and this diagrammatic representation as a whole is called graph. Okay. So, at first we will start off with straight line graph. Straight line graph. Okay. Let me graph this off. Now, the general equation for a straight line is y equals to mx plus c. Now you will ask me, what is the meaning of this m term? This m term signifies slope, or you can say it as gradient. Okay. Now what do you mean by slope or gradient? Slope is the tangent to the angle that a line makes with the positive x direction. I repeat, it is the tangent to the angle that the line makes with the positive x direction. Suppose this is the x-axis and this is y-axis. Now, if I draw a line that is meeting the x-axis at this region, so its slope will be the angle towards the positive side of the x-axis. This will be the value of theta. Similarly, if we take another axis and if this line passes through the x-axis and y-axis like this, so in this case the value of theta will be this. This will be the value of theta. Okay, so you have to always consider the positive x-axis value, the angle of the positive x-axis as the slope. Now, what does this C means? This C means intercept. Intercept, right? Now we shall see what does the term intercept means. Suppose we again take two axes. This is the x-axis and this is the y-axis. Now, if a line passes like this, okay, then what will be the intercept of this straight line? The intercept actually is the region where the x and y axis cuts. Okay, intercept is the region where x and y axis cuts. Right? So, in this graph, the region that the x and y axis cuts defines the intercept. So, this region is the intercept here. Okay. Now, we generally define intercept with respect to the positive y axis. Okay. So, let's discuss this intercept part in details. So, we are discussing about intercept. Okay. Now, I am drawing few graphs. Suppose this is x, this is y axis, and this is the reverse direction of x axis. So, this coordinate will be minus x axis. Okay. Similarly, if I take this is y axis, this is x, this is minus y, and this is minus x. Okay. If I take these two axes, the line is passing through both x and y axis. So we will have to decide whether the line makes a positive or negative intercept with respect to both the axes. That means whether it is making a positive or a negative intercept with respect to x and y axis. Let us come to the first graph. Here you can see that the line cuts the y-axis in the positive direction, right? And this line is also cutting the x-axis in its positive direction. So what will be the intercept? The intercept will be positive with respect to x-axis, as it is cutting the x-axis in the positive direction, and it also will be positive with respect to y-axis, as it cuts the y-axis in the positive direction also. Now, let's move on to this graph. Here you can see that the line it intersects the x-axis in the positive direction. So, we can say that this line makes a positive intercept with respect to x-axis. Okay. But here you see that the line intersects the y-axis in its negative region. This is the negative y-axis. So, the intercept will be negative with respect to y-axis. Understood? So, by looking at the line, we have to define whether the intercept is positive or negative with respect to this x and this y axis. Okay. Now, we will move forward to another type. Suppose this is positive x axis, this is y, this is minus y, this is minus x. Now, if a straight line is passing through the origin part, this is the origin O. Okay. So, what will be the magnitude of this intercept? Now, you see that this line intersects both the x and y axis at its 0 coordinates. I have already told you that this coordinate is 0, 0. So, we can conclude that the intercept value is 0 with respect to both x and y axis. Okay, since this line is passing through the origin, so the intercept will be 0 for both x and y axis. Okay. Next, we are moving on to the next type of intercept. Next, we move on to the next type of intercept. This is x, this is y, this is, this is minus x, this is y, and this is minus y axis. Now, if a line passes through this manner, so what will be the value of the intercept with respect to x and y axis? You have to find out. Okay, so let's start. You can see that this line cuts the y axis in the positive direction. So it's absolutely fine that this intercept will be positive with respect to y axis. Okay. Now, there will be a confusion whether this intercept is 0 or some positive or some negative value with respect to this x-axis. Now how to find out? See that this line is extending towards these two direction. Okay, that means it will never ever intersect the x-axis at any point of time. Okay, it will extend like this. So we can say that this line is parallel to x-axis, and if this line is parallel to x-axis, then the intercept will be infinite. This symbol is infinite. I hope you all know this. So with this respect to x-axis, this intercept will have infinite value. The intercept will be infinite with respect to x-axis. Okay. So this was a general concept of intercept. Okay. Now we will see how does graph of a straight line actually means. So we are proceeding on to the next topic, that is the graph. Now we are coming to slope of a graph. Now slope, it is defined by m. Okay, I have already told you that slope is the tangent to the angle that a line makes with the positive x direction. So we are taking m equals to tan theta. This equals dy dx. Now this dy dx, you might be thinking, what is this? So dy dx is actually a differential term. Okay, it implies a very small change in the y-axis with respect to a very small change in the x-axis. So we can represent the change as y2 minus y1 by x2 minus x1. Right? Now, how is this term coming? There must be some sort of a derivation. So we will see how does this equation is actually coming. Let us take an axis. This is x and this is y axis. Now suppose when you are plotting, you have got 3 points. Okay, 3 points like this. So what you do is you just join the 3 points via a straight line. Okay, you have joined these 3 points by a straight line. Now what we will do is we will take 2 points on this straight line. This can be anywhere. You can take this in this region also. What we do is now we will consider a right angle triangle. We will consider a right angle triangle here, and we are considering the coordinates as x1 y1 for this point, and for this point the coordinates will be x2 y2. Okay, so what will be this coordinate? What will be the value of this coordinate? See, for the x part, this axis and this axis, this is not going in this direction or in this direction, so it will remain as x2. Okay, so this coordinate remains x2, and for the y axis, you see that this is the y axis, so the y axis, it is not moving upwards or downwards. This is as static as the y1 axis. That is, if you consider this axis as y1, so the coordinate of this point will also be y1. Okay, so the coordinates of this point is x2 and y1. Now slope equals to tan theta, and we know that tan theta means perpendicular by base. So which is the perpendicular here? This line is the perpendicular. So the change in these two coordinates will be y2 minus y1. This line the upper portion is y2 and the lower portion is y1. So y2 minus y1 divided by the base part. This is the base part. So their difference in this point will be, this is x2 minus, what is this coordinate? x1. Okay, this can be also written as dy dx. So in this way we can find the value of, or we can derive how the slope actually looks like, or how do we get to know the value of the slope. Okay, now we have to discuss about positive and negative slopes. We have to discuss about positive and negative slope. Okay, we have taken two axes again. This is the x and this is y axis. We have considered this as 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 and so on. This is also 1, 2, 3, 4 and so on. Okay, I have drawn a line that passes through this manner. So we have to find out the slope of this line. Okay, now what we will do is, we shall again take 2 points. Suppose we have taken this point and this point, these 2 points. So to find out this coordinate, we will extend this line. You can say this is okay, and we will also plot it in the same way. Suppose for my convenience, I am taking this point as 4, okay, and this point as 3, and lower it a bit and make it as 2. Okay, this is 3 and this is 4. So this is x-axis and this is y-axis. Now, what is the formula of slope? M equals to tan theta, that equals y2 minus y1 by x2 minus x1. Now, here you see the y2 value is this one. This is the y2 value. Okay, this is the y2 value, and this 3 is the y1 value. So y2 minus y1, that means 4 minus 3 divided by, now in the x-axis, this point represents x2, as this point is y2, so its corresponding x-axis coordinate will be x2 and this will be x1. So similarly, it will also give 4 minus 3, so it is plus 1. So from here we can conclude that the slope value is positive in nature. For this line, the slope is positive in nature. Okay, this is about the positive slope. Now, for negative slope, we also have to consider a graph. Let us again consider x-axis, y-axis. Now, we are making a line like this, okay, downwards. It is going downwards. Now, we have taken 2 points like this, okay. These are the 2 points. So, we will again do the same thing. We will join this corresponding x and y axis. So, this is the x2 value, this is the x1 value, and its corresponding value will be y2, and this value will give y1. Okay. If we consider it is 1, it is 2, it is 3, it is 4, and so on. Similarly, we can consider it as 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on, and so on. So, according to the formula, m equals to tan theta equals to, again same value, y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. Now you see y2 value is 3 and y1 value is 4. So y1 becomes greater than y2 and x2 value remains same. Here we consider x2 as 3 and x1 as 2. So the numerator part will be minus 1 divided by 1. So this will come as m equal to minus 1. Thus, for this line, you will always get a negative slope. Okay, that's why the m value is minus 1 here. Now, I am giving you a small trick. I am telling you a small trick about how to find out whether slope is positive or negative slope. So, in an axis, if you see the line is like this, that is, it is increasing graph, increasing line or plot, you can say. For this increasing plot, the slope will be always positive in nature. You have to remember that for time saving in competitive exams especially. And if the nature of the line is like this, that is, it is decreasing one. For decreasing plot or line, the slope m will always come as negative. Okay, so for increasing plot, the slope value will come as positive, and for decreasing plot, the slope will be negative. Now, one more thing about the slope is, if you have to find out the slope of this line that is drawn in blue color, what will be the value of m? Okay, this is x-axis, this is y-axis. So we know what the slope is: the tangent to the angle made by the line in the positive x direction. Here you see this line is absolutely parallel to the x-axis. That is, it is not meeting x-axis at any point. Okay. So if it is parallel, then the angle will always be 0 degree. Angle will always be 0 degree. So we know m equals to tan theta. Here angle is represented by theta is equal to 0 degree. So here the angle theta is 0 degree. So tan 0 degree means 0. So for this line, you will have the value of slope as 0. Okay, as the line is parallel to x-axis. Another type of graph is also there. You have to find out the value of slope. Okay, you have to find out the value of slope in the same way. See, if a line passes like this is x-axis, this is y, this is minus x, this is minus y. If a line passes like this, you have to tell what will be the slope of this line. Now, you see that I have told you tangent to the angle made by the line along the positive x direction. So, what is the angle that the line is making with the x direction? It is absolutely perpendicular. So, here the value of theta will be 90 degree. Okay, this is absolutely perpendicular to the x-axis, this line. So, for this line, the value of slope m equals to tan theta equals to tan 90 degree. And what is the value of tan 90 degree? It is infinite or undefined. So the value of slope for this line is infinite or undefined, whichever way you want to tell. Now we will start with the applications of straight line graph. Okay. In the first one, we can see there is a plot of E cell versus log of concentration of product by concentration of reactant. The third bracket implies the concentration term. Now, what is E cell? E cell is the electrochemical cell potential, and the E0 represents the standard state electrochemical cell potential. Now, if I compare this equation with the standard straight line equation, that is y equals to mx plus c, what we will see that the y-axis is represented by this E cell term, and the log value, we consider this log value as the x-axis term. Okay. Now we are drawing the graph, rather we are plotting it. The x-axis term is log of concentration of product by concentration of reactant. Okay, the x-axis. The y-axis is E cell. E cell. Now, if you notice carefully, the intercept value is this one, that is E0 cell. And what is this minus 2.303 RT by NF implies? This value implies the value of slope, that is the value of m. Remember, m is negative here. Okay. So, for negative slope, what we know that the graph will be a decreasing one. So, here the graph is a decreasing one, and the intercept, that is this region, is equal to E0 cell, and the slope of this straight line is minus 2.303 RT by NF. Okay, so we have seen a decreasing type of graph using this equation. Next we come to this type of an equation where K represents the order of a reaction, T is the time of the reaction, time taken for the reaction to happen. This A0 represents the initial amount of the reactant that is present in the reaction, and this A0 minus X represents the amount of reactant that is left after X amount of reactant has been decomposed. Okay. Now, by comparing with y equals to mx plus c, we will take the x-axis as the log term, that is log of A0 by A0 minus X, and the y term will represent K. Okay. Now, if we draw graph, that is the y-axis will be K and the x-axis will be A0 by A0 minus X. Okay. Now, you can see that there is no positive or negative C. That is, there is no any sort of intercept. That is, here intercept is 0. And the value of slope is this one. That is, the value of slope is 2.303 by T. This is the value of slope, and it is a positive one. So, we know for 0 intercept, the line will pass through the origin. So, the line here passes through the origin, and its slope is 2.303 by T. So, as the intercept is 0, the line is passing through the origin. Okay. Now, one more type of application is there, one more equation rather, which we'll see now. Now, we will see plot of 1 by A0 versus T. This is third application. Now, for this, the equation is K equals to 1 by T, third bracket, 1 by AT minus 1 by A0. Okay. Now, what can we do here is, we will rearrange the equation. Kt equals to 1 by AT minus 1 by A0. Now we will shift this a0 to this side. So what will we get? 1 by a0 equals to 1 by at minus kt. Okay, now if I compare this with y equals to mx plus c, we will see that we will consider 1 by a0 as the y-axis, and the x-axis is what? The x-axis represents t. So what will be the corresponding slope? The corresponding slope will be m equals to minus k. Again here the slope is negative. And what will be the value of intercept? The value of intercept is this one, that is c equals to 1 by at. So we shall plot this. The x-axis is t and the y-axis is 1 by a0. So what will be the nature of the graph? It will be a decreasing one with the value of slope equal to minus k, and the value of intercept will be 1 by at. So this is another type of decreasing graph because the slope is a negative one. So this concludes today's discussion about the straight line graph. We shall next proceed on to the next type of graph, that is the exponential graph. I hope you all enjoyed today's class. If you do, then like the video, subscribe to our channel and share it among your friends, and we shall meet in the next video. Until then, all of you take care, stay safe and try to stay at home. Thank you so much for watching.